Padakamalam Krishna Chaitanya Krishna Pada Sagana Lita Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Chaitanya Shivasati Gauranga Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Jaya Rama, Punya Vihari. कीर्तन गान रतन बलो प्रेमामृतम मणि हीरा धीर जन प्रिय प्रिय करो हिमसरो पूजितो श्री चैतन्य कृपा करो भूमि भुव भारावहंतारको वंदे रूप सनातन भजगो श्री गोपालको कृष्ण कीर्तन गान तन परो प्रेमामृतम बनी हीरा धीर जन प्रिय प्रिय करो हिमसरो पूजितो नाना शास्त्र विचार नहीं कनिकुन सद्धर्म संस्थापक लोकानां हितकारिणं त्रिभुवने मन्नो शरण्यागनो नाना शास्त्र विचार कनिकुन सद्धर्म संस्थापको लोकानां हितकारिणं शरणागनो राधा कृष्ण पदारविन्द भजनानंदेन मध्वालिको वन्दे रूप सनातनो रघुजुगो गोपालको कृष्ण कीर्तन गान तन परो प्रेमामृतम बनी श्री चैतन्य कृपामरो भुवि भुव भारावहंतारको वन्दे रूप सनातनो रघुजुगो श्री गोपालको श्री गौरांग गुणसमधान्वितं पापतापनिकृन्तनं सनमितं गोविन्द गानामृतैः श्री गौरांग गुणानुवर्णनविधौ श्रद्धासमिद्धान्वितं पापतापनिकृन्तनं तनलितां गोविन्दगानामृतैः आनन्दामृतिवर्धनैः कनिकुनं कैवल्यनिस्वार्थं वन्दे सनातनो रघुजुगो गोपालको नमसे कमण्डलपति शनि सदा तूक्षम भूत्वा दीनगणेशकौ करुणया कौपीनकण्ठासितौ तत्त्वातु नमसे कमण्डलपति शनि सदा तूक्षव उत्पादीनदने सकौ करुणया कोऽपि न तन्थासितौ कोऽपि भावरसामृताखिलहरि तल्लोलमग्नौ वन्दे रूपसनातनरघुजगोपालकौ कृष्ण कीर्तन तनपरो प्रेमामृतं कृष्ण कीर्तन तनपरो प्रेमामृतं
Hare Krishna Roji, Dhanvat Pranam.
Dhanvat Pranam.
So, Roji, can you start with a little introduction of yours?
Sure. Welcome.
So, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So, we have passed almost 7 days of Bhagavatam reading marathon, and today is the 8th day. And today is very special because today we have with us His Grace Rishi Prabhu, and I know everyone knows Rishi Prabhu because he gave lecture to many of the famous ISKCON temples. And I personally heard Roji in ISKCON Dwarka, ISKCON East of Kailash, and ISKCON Vrindavan. So, just a quick introduction of Prabhuji is that Prabhuji is a brahmachari residing at ISKCON Delhi, and he is a senior disciple of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. And Prabhuji has an MBA by education. He is serving as the Vice President of ISKCON Delhi and was a part of the Executive Committee of the Northern India Divisional Council (NIDC) of ISKCON for last 4 years. And recently, he is also an executive member. He is also a trustee of the Annamrita Foundation, serving midday meals to more than 20 lakhs of people daily. Global topper at GBC College for Spiritual Leadership. Roji is also a trustee of Institute for Science and Spirituality, Bhaktivedanta Academy for Culture and Education. And he is also a secretary of two departments of ISKCON India. He is a member of ISKCON Resolve, trained meditator and Obdumation. Trains PhDs at IIT Delhi, doctors at AIMS, corporates, lawyers, Delhi congregation, new bhaktas, and brahmacharis. Apart from online Bhakti Shastra courses from ISKCON Bhagavat Mahavidyalaya, he also provides on-site courses for various temples in North India, GBC, College, and ISKCON leads. 13 years of corporate experience in two national newspaper groups. And Prabhuji has a very good experience in preaching Srimad Bhagavatam, and I hope many of you heard Prabhuji because Prabhuji is very famous on YouTube. So might be many of you heard Prabhuji earlier also. So please, I request everyone to hear today's session from Prabhuji very carefully because I personally heard Prabhuji's lecture, and whenever he gives lecture, na, that lecture will be too much philosophical and also stories. So the mixture of philosophy and stories can none other than be presented by only Rishi Kumar Prabhu in a presentable way. So I request Prabhu to continue this session and bless us to hear this today's katha very carefully. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Gaurachandraya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya. Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Gurum Dinatayam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram अष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी नारायणं Hare Krishna. So, in the fifth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the topic of coverage is called sthana, because the various parts of the material universe, including the hellish planets, are described by Srila Shukadeva Goswami to Parishit Maharaj. Now, Parishit Maharaj, being a natural Vaishnava, compassionate to everyone, Vaishnava Paradukha Dukhi, Paradukhe Dukhi. He is very, very compassionate to the fallen souls. Like you say, Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. So that is what Parishit Maharaj is. And so he's asking the question to Parishit Maharaj that if people were to suffer so much because of going to the hellish planets, Adhuneha Mahabhaga Yathaiva Narakan Naraha Nanogra Yatanan Neyat Tanme Vyakhyatum Arhasi. In the sixth shloka of the first chapter of the sixth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, he asks this question, saying, "O greatly fortunate and opulent Shukdev Goswami, Mahabhaga is most fortunate. Bhaga means opulence also. Now please tell me, how can human beings be saved? Nana Ugra Yatana Neyat. The Ugra Yatana, those who are going through very, very difficult torture, hellish torture, how can they be saved from these terrible pains?" So these are because of sinful activities that are conducted by the various living entities. And just to test Parishit Maharaj, his guru Shukadeva Goswami is saying that he says that before one's next death, the beautiful word used is next death. So naturally, one who commits sinful activities will have to take birth again, and if he has to take birth again, he will have to die again. And before the next death, whatever impious acts, kritasya kuryan mana ukta panibihi, with his mind, words, and body, if they are not counteracted, Dhruvam savai pretya narakan upaiti yak kirtitama bhavata stigma yatanaha. Stigma yatana means very, very terrible suffering. If you don't go according to the prayashchita that is given, yatham hasaha meaning yatham hasa kritya, when one has performed these sinful activities, somebody like Ajamila, who is a Brahmana of Kanya Kobja, whose life is being described, and today we'll be discussing that. The story of Ajamila. Ajamila story is given that by Shukadeva Goswami just to ensure how the Lord's overwhelming quality of Bhakta Vatsala. We study even Bhagavad Gita, the underlying theme is how Krishna is Bhakta Vatsala, how he is willing to become charioteer of even our Arjuna. He is willing to be kicked by the warrior because that is what a charioteer does. He has to be kicked by the warrior to show which direction he has to take the chariot. So that is Bhaktavatsala quality of Krishna, and that remembering that the Rangakshetra Brahmana cried, just shedding tears, even while he was not able to read the Gita. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave him the mercy that he would not give the other Brahmanas who were standing there and making fun of this Brahmana. Why? Because he has understood the real purport of Gita. And the Bhagavatam is no different. It shows how merciful Krishna is. And this particular sixth canto focuses on poshanam or poshana, which is the nourishment that Krishna provides to his devotees. How does he provide nourishment to his devotees? One kind of nourishment is those who are his existing devotees who are in very good standing. He will take care of them. Like Ananyas Chintayam Tome Jana Paripasite. Another poshanam is even if somebody is very, very sinful, who is evil, who has committed wrong activities because of his previous propensities to perform devotional service, or because of the association he has had with people who are of a great level of exaltedness, or by just remembering the good deeds that they have done earlier in the birth, Krishna protects them. So here Sukadeva Goswami says that doshaya drishtva guru laghavam yatha bhishak chikitseta rujam nidanat, which means one who is an expert physician, he will diagnose and treat the disease according to its gravity, which means one should undergo atonement according to the severity of one's sins. Now, Subudhi Rai, who is a pure associate and devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, was seemingly excommunicated by the Brahmanas because he was serving Nawab Hussain Shah, who threw some water at him and thus made him a Yavana, so to say. I don't know, those days it was possible. So to atone, they said you should drink piping hot ghee, which means essentially kill yourself. But even to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and asked what he had to do, he just said simply go to Vrindavan and serve the Vaishnavas and chant the holy name. So in one sense, in Upadeshamrita first chapter, also Prabhupada mentions this point, first and second chapter, first and second shloka, in the purport about Parishit Maharaj inquiring from Sukadeva Goswami about the same way. What happens to all these people? And then Sukadeva Goswami says that you should follow things like Manu Samhita and Dharma Shastras to follow that. It is seemingly to test his disciple. So he says, this is Kunjara Shauchavat. What is the value of such an atonement? Because you commit the sin, atone for it, and then again commit the sin again. What is the use of this prayaschitta? Prabhupada gives the example of how 7 days, 6 days, Christians may conduct all kind of nonsense. And on the 7th day, they go for confession. So what's the value of this kind of confession? So this is described by Parishit Maharaj as Kunjara Shauchavat. This is like, what is the value? Bhuya, karoti bhuya vivashaha. He is unable to control himself. Somebody makes a mistake, it is not like he is always doing it deliberately. Sometimes he wants to not do it and he ends up doing it. Like, Athakkena prayuktoyam papam charati purusha. Anishannapi varshneya baladeva niyojita. Arjuna asks Krishna this question in the Gita also. Why does the living entity repeatedly commit acts against his will which are sinful, seemingly impelled by some force? So when some entity is impelled by force to commit sinful acts, what is the use of repeatedly atoning for it? What is the use of this prayaschitta repeatedly? So there, Sukadeva Goswami says, prayaschitam vimarshanam. Vimarshanam meaning he should have full knowledge of Vedanta, the complete understanding of the conclusions of the Veda. This is verse number 11 of the 6th canto, first chapter. First 3 chapters of the 6th canto talk about Ajamila, the story of Ajamila. So then it says that he faces Nashnata Pathyam Evannam Vyadhyo Abhibhavantihi Evam Niyamakrit Rajan Shanai Kshemaya Kalpate. If some physician gives you some food that is uncontaminated and pure, some kind of pathya they call it in Ayurveda, some kind of diet, they give you some, in Hindi they call it parage. So gradually the person is cured. The infection of the disease cannot touch him. Could be medicine or food that's prescribed. Similarly, he's saying evam niyamakrit rajan. If one follows the regulative principles of knowledge, then it gradually progresses towards liberation from material contamination. You are comparing the patient's infection or disease with material contamination. This is says in verse number 12. And verse number 13 and 14 are very, very famous. These are the brahmachari shlokas. So those who are aspiring for brahmacharya ashram should memorize these shlokas. Tapasa brahmacharyena shamayana cha damayana cha tyagena satya shauchabhyam yamena niyamena va dehavak buddhijam dhira dharmajna shraddhayanvitaha Shipanyagham Mahadabi Venugulmi Avanalaha. So he says that one who follows religious principles like concentrating the mind, observing a life of brahmacharya, and one should give up sense gratification voluntarily, control the mind and senses, give charity, and be truthful, clean, non-violent. So many things he says. Follow the regulative principles. Like in ISKCON, we talk about the 4 regulative principles. So after doing all this, he says that such a person is temporarily purified of all the sins performed with this body, words, and mind. All 3. Talks about body, words, and mind. Deha, vak, buddhijam. So whichever sinful activities are committed by deha, vak, buddhijam, by the body, words, and buddhi is intelligence or mind in both cases. So then what happens? These sins are like dried leaves of creepers beneath a bamboo tree. So they may be burned by the fire, but the roots will remain to grow again at the first opportunity. So it will not be completely over. It's like some Hollywood or Bollywood movie where suddenly at the end they will put on question mark. Is the end, and then they put a question mark as if it is over or not. So it is something like that. You may think that all your sins are nullified by following this all these processes. So then he gives the real solution. Kechit kevalaya bhaktya vasudeva parayanaha agham dhunvanti katsniyana niharamiva bhaskaraham. Wonderful shloka, 15th verse of the first chapter of 6th canto. This is again another, those who are preachers should try to memorize this shloka. He says only a rare person who has complete unalloyed devotional service, kevalaya bhaktya, unalloyed, ananya bhakti, he can uproot the weeds of sinful reactions with no possibility of them sprouting up again or growing up again. But how can he do that? He can do this simply by discharging devotional service, just as the sun can immediately dissipate fog by its rays. Like it's winter now in Delhi and in North India, and you can see that there's dense fog in many places, visibility is affected. The moment the sun comes out, the fog is dissipated. Niharam iva bhaskaraha. Bhaskara is sun. So simply, when one is performing pure unalloyed devotion service, Vasudeva Parayanaha. Vasudeva Parayana means one who is completely attached to Vasudeva. Such a person will be able to completely uproot these weeds of sinful reactions and contaminations. In this canto, we also, 6th canto, we also look at how Maharaj Chitraketu was protected, how Indra was protected. Indra willingly disobeyed his spiritual master Brihaspati, still he was protected. Maharaj Chitraketu seemingly committed an offense towards Lord Shiva, seemingly was cursed to become an asura, and he was protected. So there's no end to the Lord's mercy. That is why it's called Poshanam, so much nourishment and protection. And then it is mentioned that if a sinful person surrenders to a pure devotee of the Lord and dedicates his service unto his lotus feet, dedicates his life, he is completely purified. One cannot simply be purified by undergoing austerity, penance, tapasya, brahmacharya, dana, yajna, all these things. It doesn't help. So many of the devotees in this group currently may be in the Grahastha ashrama. And you may be thinking somebody who is a brahmachari for several years in the temple may be differently situated. He may have greater opportunities to perform devotion service. There's no such thing. The only point is one who engages in service of a bona fide spiritual master and a pure devotee. So we have Srila Prabhupada and his disciples to follow for that. So that is very, very important. And Susila Sadhava yatra Narayana Parayana. Again, Vasudeva Parayana is mentioned. Now Narayana Parayana is mentioned in the 17th verse, which means those who follow the path that is authorized by the Shastras, the pure devotees, that is the best qualification. This is the most auspicious path for everybody to follow. Now, yeah. So, prayaschittani chirnani narayana parangmukam. No kind of prayaschitta that you do can help if it is parangmukam from Narayana. It is away from Narayana. Why? How it is compared to just like a pot containing liquor. Sura kumbam ivapagaha. Apaga. Water containing many rivers. Punya Tirthas also cannot purify a pot containing liquor. So similarly, non-devotees cannot be purified by the process of atonement, even if they perform them very well. You may do wonderful atonement for all your most abominable sinful activities, but you're not following devotional service, it is not going to help. So far, he's established the glory of devotional service. And to establish this devotional service glory in providing poshanam, which is the subject matter of this canto, he introduces the story of Ajamila in the 21st verse of the first chapter. He says, Kanya kubje dvija kaschit dasi patir Ajamilaha, namna nashta sadacharo dasya samsarga dushitaha. He lost all his Brahminical qualities. Samsarga dushitaha. Sangha dosha is very, very big problem in our devotion service. So those who are serious in Krishna consciousness will be very, very careful. Krishna Bhakti Janma Mula Hai Sadhu Sangha. The birth of Bhakti is Krishna Bhakti is Sadhu Sangha. And similarly, Asat Sangha Tag Jai Vaishnava Achara. So if you want to be Vaishnava, then you have to give up Asat Sangha, bad association. What happened to him? Because this person, Ajamila, he gave trouble to others. Kaitavas Chaurya, he was cheating, gambling, stealing, directly plundering them. Garhitam Vrittim, all abominable professions he was doing. And he was maintaining his kutumbam. Ashuchihi Yatayam Asa Dehinha. Other living entities, he was giving trouble to other living entities. It is okay if you are sinful for you committing sinful activities. Like you are just a drunkard or a drug addict, you are committing problem to yourself, your body and mind. But this issue is you are becoming an ati bhautika klesha to others. You may have your own adhyatmika kleshas, but the Ajamila was becoming ati bhautika klesha to others. So he spent his time like this over 88 years. What happened was that he had seen a prostitute enjoying with her client. So he was going to fetch flowers. Srila Gopal Krishna Goswami Guru Maharaj says, it is not like he was going to some movie or a disco. He was he was going there to collect flowers for his father. He had very good samskaras. He was brought up as a proper Brahmana Vaishnava. And please remember, Shukadeva Goswami is saying in the city of Kanyakumja many years back. It is mentioned long back. So you can understand this is very, very old story. In that story, those days Brahmanas were actually Brahmanas. In Kali Yuga, Kalau Shudra Sambhava. Being born in a Brahmin family is no guarantee of being Brahmana. So he did that. And then he married finally that prostitute. This is interesting. In those days, even if you have to commit sinful activities, you at least get married to the woman. In Kali Yuga, there is a concept of live-in and all this nonsense. Wife swapping, live-in, and coveting other people's spouses. This is rampant in Kali Yuga. At least those days, even a sinful man like Ajamila was getting married to a prostitute. And he had 10 sons. And the 10th of them he named as Ajamila. He named as Narayana. Narayana was the youngest, so he was very, very attached to him. So his, broken language, awkward movements, his, childish prattle, it used to attract Ajamila. Now, please let us remember that Srila Radha Govinda Goswami Maharaj says that Radha Govinda Das Goswami Maharaj says that it is the childish prattle and the manabhav, so to say, or the fussing by the wife. These are the things that stop a person from entering vanaprasthashram. Husband and wife will keep fighting, and then the wife will, fuss over, and the husband will go to cajole her. So this is the way grahasthashram continues, or householder life continues, not necessarily grahasthashram. And also childish prattle, bachon ki totli awas, or patni ka rootna, pati patni ka rootna manana, they say in Hindi. These two things are what stop a person from leaving grahasthashram and entering vanaprasthashram. So he would say whatever, he would say, Bunjana prapipan khadan balakam sneha yantritaha. When he chewed food and ate it, he called the child to chew and eat the food. When he wanted to drink something, he made the child drink. So he was always engaged in calling the name of the child. And and Acharyas say that every time he was calling Narayana, the Supreme Lord in Vaikunta felt that he was doing Sankirtan. He is calling out my name. But in reality, he is only calling his son without an understanding. So when the time of death arrived, he got scared. He began thinking exclusively of his son Narayana, what will happen to me? And then he saw Sa Pashahastam Trindrishtva Purushan Ati Darunan. Very, very horrible looking. Three people came. Three Yamadutas came. Three meaning why? One for sinful activities committed by the body, one for sinful activities committed by the words, and one for sinful activities committed by the mind. So three Yamadutas came. And many times we see people at the time of death, they are struggling out of fear and eyes popping out and passing stool and urine. That is because of fear of seeing the Yamadutas. So that is what invariably happens. So they came to take him away. And then because of his attachment, Dure Kridan Asaktam Putram Narayanadvayam Plabitena Swarena Ucher Ajuhava Akulendriyaha. Akulendriyaha meaning full of anxiety. Full of anxiety, he called out his son Narayana, 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 he was calling out. Nishamya Mriyamanasa Mukato Hari Kirtanam Bhartur Nama Maharaja Parshada Sahasapatan. The moment they heard their master's name, Bhartur Nama, the holy name of their master, who came? Mukato Hari Kirtanam. They heard Hari Kirtanam from the mouth of Ajamila, the simple person. Who came? The Vishnu Dutas came. Parshada Sahasa Patan. Suddenly they came. Vishnu Dutas, 4 Vishnu Dutas came. They came by the chanting of Ajamila. So they were trying to snatch this Ajamila, the soul that is, from the core of the heart. The husband of the prostitute, it is mentioned, Dasipati Ajamilam. He's not saying Brahmana. Then they forbade them. Stop. You see that cover of the book, Second Chance? You will see that the Vishnu Dutas are actually stopping the Yamadutas saying, don't do this. And then they say, who are you, sir? How do you have the audacity of stopping us? Ke yuyam pratished dharo dharmarajasya shasanam? How can you stop Dharmaraja's shasanam? This is the problem again. The Yamadutas, poor little fellows, had no idea that there is somebody beyond their master also. Their master is Yamaraja, but everybody is master. Patim Vishwasya Atmeshwaram. Everybody's master is Srimad Narayana, Krishna. How have you stopped us? Why are you forbidding us to touch the body of Ajamila? They're asking, are you demigods? What are you? Then they're describing, Yamadutas are describing the Vishnu Dutas. You are so beautiful doing all this, but why are you stopping us? So then they sounded like rumbling clouds. Mega nirkradaya gira. They spoke like thundering clouds. They said, Yujam vai dharmarajasya yadi nirdeshakaredaha bhuta dharmasya nastatvam yacha dharmasya lakshanam yacha adharmasya lakshanam. This is the Vishnu Duta said, if you're actually the disciples of Yamaraja, please prove to us, please explain to us the principles of religion. And of course, later on, Yamaraj also explains to them this point, Dharmas Bhagavat Pranitam. This dharma comes from the mouth of the Supreme Lord. Where does dharma come? Dharma comes from the mouth of religion, which is the Supreme Lord. So then they are saying that why are you stopping us? Those who are karmis, they are irreligious people, why are you stopping us? It is our job to punish you. Dharmam to sakshat bhagat pranitam. So that is how it is. So this is your they're saying our Yamaraj is as good as Brahma. So he knows what to do. Why are you stopping us? He's done so many sinful activities, this person. They give the whole example of the living entity, the sinful activities he performs, what kind of action he gets. These are very intelligent people. They may look like very horrible, but it is not like they're stupid idiots. They have some idea. Only point is their understanding is limited to what Yamaraja has told us. So he said this Shudra, his arm decorated with turmeric powder, was embracing the prostitute. When Ajamila saw her, the dormant lusty desires in his heart awakened, and in illusion he fell under their control. So the story is given here. So initially he had studied all Vedic literature. He was very good character. He was all nice. I am Shruta Sampanna, Sheela Vrita Gunalaya. He had all very good qualities, everything. And but somehow or the other he saw this prostitute, and therefore it says, in the same way that the sun and moon are eclipsed by a low planet, the Brahmana lost all his good sense. Tan nimitta smara vyaja graha grasto vichetanaha. Tameva manasa dhyayan swadharmad viraramaha. So he forgot all the regulative principles. Just like, you have Rahu or Ketu eclipsing sun and the moon, all his good qualities got taken away. Then whatever money he got, he inherited from his father. He spent on the prostitute and maintaining his family. So he gave up his very own beautiful young wife who came from a very, very respectable Brahmana family. And Prabhupada mentions in the purport that illicit sex is something that is possible only with a low class woman or a Shudra. But in Kali Yuga, there is cleanliness is completely gone. There is everybody is Shudra Sambhava. So the Yamaduta is saying, although born of a Brahmana family, this rascal bereft of intelligence because of the prostitutes association. Some or the other he earned money, he used it to maintain his prostitute sons and everything. So basically they said he did not do any atonement, no prayaschitta, therefore he deserves to be taken. And then the Vishnu Dutta saying, this is so bad. Aho kashtam dharma adharma dharma drisham adharma sprishate sabham. So it is so sad that irreligion is being introduced in the assembly of religion, whether it should be maintained. You people have no idea what is religion. So you are not qualified. The king should be so qualified. And yadyad acharati shreyan itaratas tattat ihate. Almost like the Bhagavad Gita shloka they say. They will accept as evidence whatever the leader accepts. People follow the leader. So he's saying, people are not very advanced, but how can you punish or kill a foolish person who is fully surrendered in good faith and friendship? So they talk about Ajamila. Ajamila, and this is the important point. They say, Ayam hi krita nirvesho janma koti amhasam api yad vyajahara vivasho nama swastyanam harehe. He says he's already performed atonement for all his sinful actions. How? He has atoned not only for sins performed in one life, he has even those for millions of life. And he did not chant purely. This is called Nama Abhasa. He was getting a glimpse of the holy name. So then he without aparada he chanted. Aparada shunna hai lahe Krishna naam, Krishna Mata, Krishna Pita, Krishna Dhana Pran. We should take it without offenses. Chanting the holy name is without offenses. Yete naiva ki aghonosya kritam syad aghanishkritam yada narayana yeti jagada chaturaksharam. Just by calling out these four letters chaturaksharam, narayana, they said while eating, sleeping, calling for sleep, playing narayana this, narayana that, he said that simply by chanting the name of Narayana, he atoned for sinful reactions accumulated over millions of births. So this is the glory of the holy name of the Supreme Lord. So the best atonement, it is mentioned. Sarvesham api aghavatam idam iva sunishkritam nama vyaharanam vishnor yatastad vishaya matihi. Most materialistic people also, the greatest atonement is to chant the holy name of the Lord Srimad Narayana. This is applicable to anybody. Brahmaha, Guru Talpagaha, Stri, Raja, Pitru, Go, Hanta, everything, killers of women, cows, even Guru, Brahmanas. the best way to atone is to chant the holy name of the Lord. Of course, it doesn't say Guru in that sense. It says more from Brahmanas. There is no atonement for killing one's Guru. So, this is the way that so at the time of his death, Ajamila helplessly and very loudly chanted the holy name of the Lord. In the second chapter, 13th verse, Srila Prabhupada mentions. So that chanting alone has already freed him from the reactions of all sinful life, the Vishnu Dutas are saying. Yadaso Bhagavan Nama Mriyamana Samagrahi. Therefore, O servants of Yamaraj, do not try to take him to your master for punishment in these hellish conditions. Don't do that. He's already atoned. One who chants Sanketyam Parihasam Va Tobam Helanameva Va Vaikuntanama Grahanam Ashesh Agaharam Viduhu. 14th verse of the second chapter is a wonderful solution to all the problems of life. 6 to 14. One who chants the holy name of the Lord is immediately freed from the reactions of unlimited sins, even if he chants indirectly, jokingly, musical entertainment, or even neglectfully. This is accepted by all the learned scholars of the scriptures. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, people were chanting. It was Chandragrahana time. Everybody was chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. At that time, the Yavanas were also making, hey, look at them chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So even they benefited. So whichever way you chant, there is benefit. And it says, even if you patitas kalito bhagnaha sandashtas tapta ahata, whether you are being bitten by a serpent, have high pain and fever, you're dying, slipping and falling and dying, break your bones, in all situations, all the problems are absolved finally by chanting the holy name. You will not get any problem. So chanting the Hare Krishna mantra vanquishes all the effects of sinful activities, regardless of whether it is heavy or light. Now, all good things must come to an end. So the Vishnu Dutas preached like this. The Yamadutas finally had to leave. And at that time, Ajamila, who was privy to this whole conversation, finally concluded that Anyatha Mriyamanasya na shuchir vrishali patehe Vaikuntha nama grahanam jikva bhaktum iharkati. If I did not do some devotional service in the past, I could never have remembered the name of the Lord. I was just going to be ready to die. It would not have been possible if I have not done any bhakti. So therefore, if you do bhakti from childhood, Kaumaram Achret Prajno, it is easy to remember at the time of death. Also, whatever samskaras that we receive early in our birth, it stays throughout our life. So we do devotional service for a substantially long point of time. Even if there is any problem, it says that those who have performed bhakti for a short time, if they fall down, still they are born in families of Shochinam Srimatam Gehe. And those who are not, who are there for a long time, they are performing devotional service, and something goes wrong, then they will be born in the family of Vaishnavas. Etadhi durlabhataram. This is very, very rare. This birth is rare. So Ajamila is now repenting. I am a shameless cheater. Hitava papo. I have killed Brahminical culture. So therefore, he is saying that I am such a sinful person. But now that I have gotten this opportunity, so aham tata yatishyami yata chitendriyanilaha yata na bhuya atmanam andhe tamasi majjaye. I will never again fall into the deep darkness of material life. So he atoned sincerely. He saw this. He gives a whole explanation for what happened. Mamaham iti dehado itvam mithyata dhir matim hasya mano bhagavati shuddham tat kirtanadibihi. I chanted the holy name of the Lord in the association of devotees. So my heart is now becoming purified because the Vishnu Dutas were also there. So the living entity becomes a victim. How he becomes a victim is by identifying with the body, and therefore he performs such activities. So this the spiritual consciousness can be attained only, Prabhupada says, if one chants the holy name of Krishna, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and always keeps oneself in the association of devotees. An excellent answer. 38th verse of the second purport, second chapter purport, Prabhupada clearly says, secret of success. So you can note this. And then, of course, just by an association, moment's association with Vishnu Dutas, Ajamila detached himself. And then what did he do? Ganga Dwaram Upeya. He went to Haridwar. he went to Haridwar to perform bhakti. In Haridwar, he took shelter at a Vishnu temple, and there he executed bhakti yoga. He controlled his senses and fully applied his mind in the service of the Lord. Thus, eventually, he fully became absorbed in thinking of the form of the Lord. And once again, he saw those four celestial persons. They came back again. They gave him a chance because they got a chance. Now his devotion had matured. Earlier also they came, but his devotion had not matured. Now his devotion matured. Now they came to take him back. And then he got his original spiritual body and he went back to Godhead. This is Ajamala's Charita. After that, there is an explanation of how the Yamadutas go back to Lord Yamaraj and ask him what happened. How come the first time your law has failed? We went to the right person, we thought, but now they are saying it's the wrong person. So then Yamaraja explains to them that the principles of religion are initiated by the Supreme Lord. He is my master. You made a mistake by going to the wrong person. He chanted the holy name, so all his sins are counteracted. So Yama, being Mahajana, knows the principles of religion and he confirms that this is the purpose. And from the life of Ajamala, therefore, we learn how the Supreme Lord takes care of his devotees. Everything else fails, the Supreme Lord is always there. Poshanam, the quality of nourishment and protection. And that is why it is also mentioned that Raksha Satiti Vishwasa, one of the qualifications of surrender is that the Supreme Lord will always protect us. And that faith we should have. Hare Krishna. So that's the story of Ajamila. Thank you very much for the patient listening. I think it's already time. I have gone 10 minutes beyond my time. I told that I may take 10 minutes beyond. I don't know if you have time for questions. I'm concluding here my lecture. If you have
Yes,
time for
Guruji.
questions, let me know. Huh?
Yes, Guruji. So can we start for questions, Guruji?
Sure, we'll take. I can
Okay,
only
Guruji.
take one question because I have to go for this event. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's
Okay,
150th
Guruji.
anniversary event is happening. I have to go for that.
Okay, Guruji.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Guruji. She is asking Bhumika Mataji, if one who is sinful chants the holy name, he atones for all sins. But if he is sinful, how can he chant the holy name? As Aindra Prabhu used to say, Nam Akshar Nam Nahi.
Hmm. So thank you. Good question, Mathri. It is mentioned that Haristane Aparade Tare Harina. If you are trying to chant attentively and you commit offenses to the holy name, you chant more rounds. So that way you overcome offenses to the holy name. The one thing that is important is when you're chanting the holy name, Bahujanma Korejodi Stravana Kirtan, Tabutana Pai Krishna Pade Premadan. Offenses to the holy name should be avoided. At the same time, Krishna also mentions in Gita that Esham Twanta Gatam Papam Jananam Punya Karmana. Only those who have overcome all sinful reactions will be able to chant in a determined manner. So, like, how do you account for hippies chanting the Hare Krishna mantra and becoming sannyasis? So, Srila Prabhupada was asked this question by some of these hippies saying, Srila Prabhupada, thank you very much. You gave us this, we got a Satguru like you. What Sukriti we have committed? So Prabhupada said, you have no Sukriti, I have given you Sukriti. So it is the mercy of a pure devotee that can instill the quality of good chanting. So Bhaktistu Bhagavad Bhakta Sangyana Parichayate. Devotion comes from devotees. Srila Radhana Swami Guru Maharaj says that it takes one to make one. So if you're a devotee, you can give devotion. Somebody who's chanting the holy name attentively can make a chant the holy name attentively. I may be totally sinful, but by the association of pure devotees, Krishna Bhakti Janma Mula Hoy Sadhu Sang, like I said earlier. And Sadhu Sangha is the birthplace of Bhakti. And process starts with chanting of the holy name. So you chant the holy name. You know, so many people come to the movement and you tell them chant 2 rounds. You cheat them. First, you just chant 1 round. You don't have to give up any bad habit. And then gradually they give up those bad habits. How does it happen? The strength of the holy name, they may not be chanting so attentive. It will be mantra akshara. But when they're chanting mantra akshara, gradually they learn about the holy name. They, through the association of devotees, they hear the holy name being chanted attentively by other devotees. They draw inspiration, and they are engaged in also other limbs of devotional service, which act as poshana to the chanting of the holy name. Otherwise, Prabhupada would have said only Hare Krishna movement means only 24-hour chanting Hare Krishna. All these other activities are stressed so that the living entity may develop some amount of purification by serving the Supreme Lord, by associating with devotees, by accepting prasadam, by having darshana, by studying scriptures. All these things act as catalyst towards chanting the holy name, plus association of the holy name primarily, association of the devotees primarily. So all this put together help a Vaishnava, help a sadhaka become a Vaishnava. Is that fine?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you. I have to conclude. I'm sorry. I would have loved to continue. This is a wonderful group. They are very, very patient. Possibly because you muted all of them, but still they are very patiently listening to me. Thank you very much for the association, and I welcome all of you to continue this Bhagavat Marathon challenge, reading challenge. I've given you verse numbers. I've given you some important verses. You please read those verses and meditate on them. Meditate on the character of Ajamila. And inside all of us, there is one Ajamila. Only good fortune is that our Vishnu Duta Srila Prabhupada, he has come in that form to help us. And now we should also, instead of going to Ganga Tata like he did, wherever we are, in that place, Thana Sthitam, we should stay and chant the holy name. And we will be protected. Hare Krishna. Srimad
Thank you,
Bhagavatam.
Prabhuji, for the wonderful class.
Hare Krishna. So we'll be meeting soon, I think next week.
Yes, Prabhuji.
I'll
You
be
have a
talking.
next
I'll be
session on
talking about the origin of Ganga. So that'll be the topic. I'm happy to meet all of you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So, we'll be having one more session by Rishi Prabhuji on the 15th of Bhagavatam reading challenge. So, please tighten your seatbelt from now. And devotees, we have shared you the verses for today's reading. So, please kindly go through that. And thank you, Prabhuji, for filling our heart with Srimad Bhagavatam and making us with full of nectar.
You
As
kind,
also,
you made an Ajamila like person study the story of Ajamila. Thank you very much.
yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.